Hey, welcome back everybody to my advanced programming course using C++. Today we're going to talk about comparing an array, and it's very simple topic. Should get you up and running real quick. It should be something that you understand easily. Okay, so here's an example code that I've written where you have two arrays identical, okay? And we want to compare and see if they're equal, meaning that whatever is in value of array 1, same values are in array 2. Now the problem lies when you think you can compare them because you're used to comparing variables by using the equals operator, right? And you already see there's a problem here with this underline here. The underline is actually telling you that the array comparison always evaluates to false. So why is that? What's the reason for that? What's the reason for that? What you're trying to, you're probably thinking, well, what this actually means, what does this actually mean for, at least to you, right? So to you, you're probably thinking that this is the case. So you're doing, let's say you have two arrays, right? 1, 2, 3. You have another array here. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 6, and 8. So 1, 2, 3, 6, 8. 1, 2, 3, 6, 8. So when you're doing equals, you're saying, oh, does this whole thing equal this whole thing, right? But that's wrong. You can't do that. Why? Why? Well, I'll tell you why. When you declare an array in C++ and you reference the array name itself, it's actually referencing the address of the array. So every array has a memory location. For example, if I declared, let's just call this n2, n1, right? n2, the location of this probably is somewhere in x0, let's say the 500th memory byte. And then this is something like x0, maybe 200 memory byte. So when you're doing n1 is equal to n2, it's comparing the address of where it starts to the address of where it starts. And they're never going to be equal because you can't have two arrays point to the same thing, right? Then it wouldn't make sense. So essentially what you're saying is, does the starting memory location, this is saying, does the starting memory location of numbers A equal to the starting memory location of numbers B? So let's run this real quick. It's usually going to give you a little bit of warning. And it says, obviously, the arrays don't match. Why? Because what you're saying is the following. Numbers A. And we actually want to print the address, right? And then numbers B is also the address. So let's do that. Okay. Oop, I forgot the end line. Let's pay close attention to the right. We got another one. So you see that, I hate when I do bugs in the video. You see that this is the address of numbers A, and this is the address of numbers B. So what's actually happening with this comparison statement is we are comparing this address to this address, and obviously they don't match because this has a C in it and this has an A in it, and it's always going to be false regardless of where you declare what you do. If you declare two separate arrays, they're always going to be false if you do the equals to comparison. So how do you solve this? How do you compare and see if they're equal? The only way to do it is going through using a for loop. If you use a for loop, then, only then, can you compare each individual value and see if they are equal. But you need a little bit of more firepower, right? Because you also need to indicate at what point they were not equal and then see if they were both identical. So what I can do is I can say the following. We'll just do size. And we have a constant size is equal to 5. All right. Now, if numbers a of I is equal to numbers b of I, actually we want to say not equal, because as soon as we find something that's not equal, we want to flip the flag. So bool identical equals true. We're going to go with the positive outlook. And then if there is a value that's not equal, then we want to do identical equals false and then just break. So we don't want to continue in the loop. So if identical is equal to false, we will say the arrays don't match. Otherwise, arrays match. Right? So here we're looping through, and we're going to go through, use the I as its index, right? And go through each individual element and compare them to each other. As soon as we find something that's not equal, we'll just say that it's not identical, and we'll break out of the loop. Once we break out of the loop, we'll check our identical Boolean variable and see if it's false, then the arrays don't match. Otherwise, the arrays are equal. So if we run this, the arrays are equal. Okay? So be careful when you are comparing arrays. You got to understand that if you just use the array value, the array name, it's going to treat it as an address. And when you compare two addresses from two different arrays, never going to be true. Okay, never going to be true. Okay, so I hope that you were able to pick up some more knowledge on comparison of arrays, and I will see you on the next lecture.